Hi everyone, and welcome to this very special version of our Radio.co product tour. This one is actually aimed at education. So I'm going to show you how exactly how Radio.co can work for for different kinds of education, whether it is adapting the way that you're teaching, whether it is remotely at the moment, and even just tips on how to create a really good, really great sounding, successful student radio station. My name is Phil, if I haven't said that already, and I'm going to jump into the Radio.co demo. There are many ways Radio.co can be used within schools, colleges and universities. So whether you are a student, a teacher, a parent, or even a member of the school board, online radio is an incredibly effective, creative, and honestly, a very approachable way of educating, particularly in these changing times we've seen. So whether you are wanting to use Radio.co to launch a school radio station or as an alternative method to remote teaching, I'm going to show you over the next 30 minutes or so how our software works and how, most importantly, how minds of all ages and abilities can enjoy broadcasting online radio. So the majority of this demonstration will cover what Radio.co can actually do. So if you are a teacher interested in using our platform for strictly teaching, then I hope this video will give you an idea on how you can use it for your particular needs. And if you're a student or a teacher hoping to use our platform to launch your very own school radio station, then make sure to stay through to the end as I'll be discussing some fantastic content ideas and equipment guidance, to give your station the best head start possible. Okay, so let me jump into the demonstration here. Okay, so this is your Radio.co dashboard or your homepage. So once an account is created for your school, this is what you'll see. It takes a couple of minutes to actually sign up, and this is what you'll be greeted with every time you log in. It's the epicenter of your radio station. It can be a little daunting, honestly, starting an online radio station, particularly, with everything that's going on the screen here. But this is just a general overview of what's currently going on your station right now. The most important thing, I'm sure you can agree, is our on-air, off-air button. So through Radio.co, we actually give you the ability to create a 24-hour station. And what I'm going to show you later on is even if you don't intend to create 24 hours of content every single day, because we have got busy days already, we can actually help you create content incredibly easily just through our software. And, more on that. I'll also be talking about content ideas as well. But the most important thing to know is when you turn your station on air, we actually power it for you. So it just means, the school doesn't need to spend so much money keeping a computer on constantly 24/7. That's not necessary, as we'll do that for you. The only time a computer actually needs to be on is if anyone is doing a live broadcast, or if you wanted to just make any changes to your content. Otherwise, leave it off and we'll power it for you and keep it on air all the time. Now, this information here, you'll see at the top of the screen, that is for live broadcasting. So as well as creating pre-recorded content for your station, you can actually broadcast live, and it's incredibly easy to actually do. So this will state the connection status of you as a host. So whoever that may be, a teacher or a student, this will show whether you are currently connected to the live stream. And if you are, then it's only mere minutes away of actually going live. If I was doing a show, this would count down the time I've got left until I'm actually going live on air. So I'm next going live on air, in about 13 hours or so best get an early night. And you can see here, this is how you actually connect to a live broadcast. You download this little piece of software called a broadcaster, or an encoder is another name for it. Now, if you are a Windows user, so if the studio computer is a Windows based, then this is what you want to use. You will open this, you'll open it every time you want to broadcast live. It will just ask you what input you want to turn into an output. And what I mean by that is the input needs to be where your audio is coming from. So that could be a microphone you've got plugged into your computer. It could be a mixing desk with various things plugged into it. You just tell the software where you want the audio coming from, and it will put it on air. It's very, very easy to do. And you'll actually find an actual setup guide for this within our Radio.co University, which you can find 24/7 on our website for more information. If you are a Mac user, you need to do something slightly different. So if your computer is Mac-based, you'll need to use a set of connection details and a third-party piece of software called But. or broadcast using this tool is the full name for it. And again, that's very, very straightforward to set up. It's a free piece of software that's, it's really, really small, really easy to use. And it'll just ask you to input a certain amount of information that's unique to your station. And again, there's a video about that in our help center. So if you go to help.radio.co, you'll find guides about everything to do with our software. So that's a really great place to go if you want some refreshing on how this software works. Now, this information here, this is all relevant to whichever plan you take out with us. So you'll be able to see the maximum amount of simultaneous listeners you can have on your station. Bandwidth. People often ask us, what is bandwidth? This is actually data that's required for people to listen to your station. So as soon as someone connects and starts streaming your station, they'll begin using up bandwidth. And the more people that listen and the longer they listen for, the more bandwidth is used up. So we'll keep a tab on it there for you. And probably most importantly for a radio station is your storage. So this is for any music, any pre-recorded content, any jingles you perhaps have for your student radio station. What you want to do is upload them to your account, and you can use them for broadcasting here. And I'll show you how to upload content in just a couple of seconds. And then, as you can expect from a radio station, you can see what's currently playing, what's previously played, what's coming up next. And in terms of our schedule, have we got any shows coming up within the next 24 hours? And we have there. I'll show you the schedule very shortly, but first of all, let's upload some content. So you've gone away, you've got some music for your student radio station, or perhaps you've recorded some content for your teaching. And what you need to do is click on where it says Media here. You click on the Add Media button at the top of the screen here. And you'll need to select files from your computer. You should always upload content directly to your Radio.co account, because once it's on your account, it means it can be accessed from any computer you log into from anywhere in the world you log in from. It also means you can build them into playlists and schedule those for broadcasting. So what you want to do is click on Select File from your computer, or you can drag them onto this screen here. As for file types, your tracks should be in MP3 or AAC file. So as long as it's one of those, you should be absolutely fine. One thing to note as well is if you are uploading via this browser, you can only upload tracks up to a maximum of 200 megabytes. Anything larger than that, you can upload via an alternative means called FTP. This stands for File Transfer Protocol, and in the simplest terms, it's just a much more aggressive way of uploading media. So you can upload many files and large files very quickly. Again, you'll find more information about this on our help guide about how to upload media. So you've uploaded content. Again, this could be music. It could be teachings that you've recorded for your students to broadcast on air. So you've uploaded them here, and you'll see all my tracks are in a long list format such as this. And you can see, judging from the music, this is a music-based station. And you'll also see that these tracks have got these brightly coloured labels attached to them. And they're what we call tags. And these are very, very useful for helping you, first and foremost, organizing your media. So you can see here on my music station, I've separated my tracks up into pop tracks, rock, chilled. I've got some jazz tracks even. So you can separate them in terms of genre. You can also separate them in terms of what track type they may be. So I've got some adverts here, so I've tagged them as such. I've got some podcasts, more on podcasting later. And I've also got some jingles here. Now, the great thing about the tag system is you can type in anything you want because it's there to help you. So I could highlight these tracks maybe, such as here. So say, for example, I wanted to do a classic show. I'm going to play classic tracks that, perhaps my parents listened to when they were younger. So what I could do is I could highlight these tracks, such as this, by clicking on the empty white box. Click on the top here, where it says Add and Create Tag. And I can type in maybe classics, such as that. If I click on Add, what it would do is it will then assign that tag to those tracks. So I now know I have 3 classics tracks. And again, in a similar fashion, say, for example, you have recorded some readings from a textbook or some modules that you want students to listen to during their school day, then I would upload them again here. I can highlight them, and maybe we've got a tag called, maybe this is maths, maybe. Click on Add, and I've tagged it as such there. So it's just a great way of helping you organize your media. And as well, to see how it plays in effect, if I click on the tags option here on the left, you'll actually see all the tags you've made as well as how many tracks are associated with each one. So say on my student radio station, I wanted to play a 90s themed show. I know, for example, I've tagged 152 tracks as 90s. So as you can see, it's a great way of organizing your media, and you can actually use these tags to build playlists. And that's kind of the running theme I'm going to be showing you through, is just how user-friendly this software is. So, it doesn't matter what your ability, what your knowledge, even what your confidence is in launching an online radio station. I'm going to show you very easy ways of making it a reality. The dream radio station that you want to build is incredibly easy to actually achieve. Now, we've got a couple of features here which I'm going to highlight. So first of all, we have recordings. Now, with recordings, live broadcasts can actually be scheduled to record. So once you come off air, you'll actually have that broadcast saved as an MP3 file. This can be hugely beneficial for two main reasons. Number one, it allows students to listen to themselves on air, reflect on their performance, and then learn to improve or help others, maybe if they found it a very enjoyable, very easy thing to actually do. The second reason is these live recordings could actually then be turned into podcasts, and it opens up the possibility of students then learning how to edit recordings and upload them onto podcast directories. And speaking of, imagine the excitement of finding a school talk show you've done available to listen to on Spotify. The most popular way people are listening to podcasts and radio stations is through Spotify. So imagine seeing your own programs there. And I mentioned editing. A really good piece of editing software, if you don't have one already, is actually a program called Audacity. It's free to use, which is great, obviously, for school budgets, but it's also very, very easy to use. It's very basic, but it absolutely does the job. I, for one, have been podcasting for several years, and I use that to edit my podcasts because it's so easy to use. So if you search for Audacity on Google, you'll be able to find it there. But you can see here, I've got some live shows. I've got one from October, and I've got one from the summer that I actually haven't uploaded as a podcast. So if I click on Actions here, you'll see a couple of options. I could download the recording. I could edit just the start and end of this track. I could upload it to Radio.co. So that is actually a sister company to Radio.co. So if you happen to also have a Podcast.co account to host your podcasts on, you can actually upload it straight to there. So if I click on this option, it will open up a window. I've got the podcast I want to submit to. I can enter some information here for my show. Click on upload track and it will upload it in a couple of minutes. So, that's another great way of actually making your student radio station available on so many more places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn. So that's recordings. Voice tracking too is a really, really great feature that you should consider using. So with voice tracking, students can easily create their own pre-recorded links and learn how to record radio programs. It's the perfect way to get them used to talking and presenting on air without the nerves of going live on air. So if you're not too sure about how you would sound, or you just want to listen back to how you would talk prior to going live on air, then you can actually record your links and place them throughout a playlist. It's a really great way of recording a lot of content quite quickly. You can create a week's worth of content, far in advance. So it's a really great, useful tool to have. You'll actually have 10 minutes of recording time. So it's a great opportunity for you to talk solo or get multiple students, multiple friends of yours on air to discuss topics and interview guests. From a teaching perspective, you can also use voice tracking as an alternative method of recording lessons or notes, which students can then listen to online. I know, for example, one school is currently broadcasting through us. They use voice tracks as a way of reminding students of tasks and lesson times whilst they're studying at home. So most of the daily programming will consist of silence on their particular station, but every 15 or 30 minutes or so, they record a time check. So students are referenced about what time it currently is and what subjects they'll be working on next. So for teaching and as a student radio station, it's a great tool to have. You may even not want to go live at all and you want to just record a voice track. I'll show you an easier way of actually recording a voice track when we're building our playlist. So more on that shortly. Talk shows, this is available in our higher end plans, our gold and our pro plans. And this is a great way, particularly for remote broadcasting. So if you are a school radio station and, during these COVID-19 times we find ourselves in, you're not allowed to enter a studio, then you could still actually interview guests, interview people remotely from your own home. And by doing that, you would create a talk show or kind of like a green room, essentially. So here, what you would do is click on, here you would create a session. You would invite listeners to your station here. If I click on Start Session, people will be able to click on this URL. You can enter them into the room, press record once everyone's there, and you can actually very easily record a 60-minute talk show or a discussion. It doesn't have to be that long, but it's a really great way of connecting people, students, teachers from opposite ends of the country or opposite ends of the world even. So it's a great tool to consider using. You can also have news. So if you wanted a news broadcast on your station, you can actually automate it. And the reason we introduced this news bulletin builder feature is because having news broadcasting on your station, for me personally, I think it's a very professional tool to actually have. So you could have someone else deliver the news for you, or something I will touch on later with our content ideas, you can actually record the news yourself. But again, more on that very shortly. Okay, so playlists. This is how you will build your live show, build your pre-recorded shows. So this goes for music and talk shows. So you can currently see at the moment, I've got a few music shows here. I've got a 90s R&B show. I've got a breakfast show. I've got a lunchtime show. I've even got a podcast show full of back-to-back podcasts. Now, there is one playlist that your school will be given when you create your account, and it's this one. It's the default playlist. Now, the reason we give you this is because we've built it to do a couple of really important, really good jobs. The first job that it does is, say, for example, you are in the middle of broadcasting a live show to all of your parents or to your schools, or maybe you're a teacher broadcasting to your students. What if your internet connection suddenly cuts out, or an emergency's happened and you're unable to attend the show? Then instead of your audience being left in the dark and hearing awkward silence, you can actually fade what we call a backup playlist to play instead. As the name suggests, the default option is the default option. So this will automatically play anytime there is a disruption to the connection. So don't worry if your area, your school has funny internet connection. Don't worry, your audience will always hear something when you have a backup playlist. The other job that it does, which will really help with generating your content for your station, is the default playlist can actually automatically fade in and play during any gaps in your schedule. So if you only wanted to create programming for an hour maybe, or a couple of hours every day, then for every other hour, this playlist will automatically fade in and start playing on loop. So what I would do is, the first thing when you create your account and you've changed all your settings and the name of your station, is come to your playlist, come to your default playlist here and click on the pencil icon here. And you'll come to your playlist editor, and you can see I've got these tracks in my default playlist. And what I'd recommend doing is placing your tracks that you want into your default playlist and building that first. So then as soon as you turn your station on air, this default playlist will begin playing. So you've got content playing right from the off. But before I do that, I'm actually going to create my own playlist. So to do that, conveniently, there's a box here that says New Playlist. So if I click on this, I can name my playlist whatever I want it to be called. So I'm going to call this one Phil's Student Radio Show. Keep it nice and simple. Give it a colour. Doesn't matter which one. It just makes it look really nice on this schedule, really colourful. So I'll set this nice green, my favourite colour. And if I click on the Add button, it will take you to your playlist builder screen. So this is where you'll see the name of your show, or the name of the playlist you're going to build, and its current length. You can see it's 0. Now, to add tracks to it, it will automatically take you to your tracks. So these are all the tracks that I've uploaded. I've got about 2,000 tracks on my account. So what I can do is I can work my way down the list and just click on the plus button next to every track I want to add in. And you'll see as soon as I do, it's jumping straight into my playlist, just like that. Very easy. Very, very quick. So if I want to just select any track from this list, click on the plus button, and it jumps straight across. You can also type in tracks here as well. So I can type in there Ja and see what I've got. I've got Beyonce there, Jay-Z, Jamelia, Jay Sean there. So you can just type in anything you want and find these tracks and just add them in. You can also drag them in as well if you want to. Now, of course, you don't have to add tracks into the specific order. So once they're in your playlist, just drag them around with your mouse and move them into the position you want, like so. And this playlist will play in this exact order that you've placed it. It's not a random. It will play in exactly this list here. Now, if you do want tracks to play at random, then the way to do that is actually through tags. So if I click on the tags option here, you'll see that list again I showed you earlier, the tags. So say, again, I wanted to play a random 90s track on this particular station. What I would do is get my 90s tag. I would drag it in. And when it gets to this tag in the schedule, it will play a random track that has that tag on it. So I had about 150 tracks I tagged as 90s. So it will then play a random track associated with that tag. And the software is very clever. It will play every track associated with that tag once before it repeats any. So I can just drag them all in here like so. And it will just keep playing a random track associated with that tag. And you can actually play or build a playlist completely built of these tags if you wanted to. So many different ways you can build a playlist. Now, recordings, you've got a live show that you've recorded and you want to repeat it. How do you repeat it? Simple. You place it into your playlist. So this is an old show from the summer. So to repeat this, simply drag it into your playlist like so. And there we go. I'm now playing an old 2-hour-long live show within my 4-hour-long playlist. Simple as that. That's how you repeat your shows. Now, voice tracks. Again, as a reminder, this will let you record your voice up to 10 minutes in length, and it's great for recording modules or readings of textbooks, messages, encouragement, or obviously pre-recorded talk show content. So to record one, what you want to do is click on this microphone button here. When you do it, then take you to your voice track screen. So there's one thing you need to do first is when you select this button, it will ask you to confirm what input you want to use. Now, again, this input will be whatever you've typically got plugged into your computer. So it could be a microphone, a USB microphone you plugged in. It could be an audio interface or a mixing desk, like what I'm using for an XLR microphone. Or it could be a set of turntables, a CD player. But you're going to tell the software what you want to record your audio from. So I've selected it here. And if I click on this a second time, it will start counting backwards from 10 minutes. So it's currently recording everything that I'm saying through my microphone. So I could use this just to introduce a piece of music that's coming on next. I can introduce a segment for the show. Maybe it's an old show and I didn't record an introduction for it. I can use it now. Or of course, you can just talk for 10 minutes. And again, this would be a great option for students wanting to pre-record their vocal links, or again, teachers wanting to record parts of some teachings for their students. So you can record for as long as you want within this 10-minute time frame, and when you've finished, click on stop. You'll then be able to listen back to it to see how it sounds, like so. So again, this is a great way of testing how your voice sounds, because I know obviously people get jokes, particularly me. People seem to think I put on a radio voice when I'm talking, doing my vocal links. I just think I'm talking like myself. But if you record yourself, you can actually listen back to you to make sure, see how you sound. If you don't like it, you can click on clear recording and you can start again. But if you do like it, you just need to give it a name. So I'll call this one, Phil's Show Intro. Simple as that. If I click on create, it will then save it and it will place it by default at the bottom of my playlist. Now, of course, if I don't want it there, I can move it around. So once it's saved, I can just move it here. Maybe it introduces this piece of music or this track here. You can get rid of it if you want by clicking on the cross button. And even if you do, it will still be saved at the top of your voice track folder. So I've recorded all my voice tracks, so I'm going to place them throughout the show. So you can see it's a really great way of recording content without actually having to leave the software. So instead of having to go elsewhere to record it, export it, and then upload it to your content, cut all that out, cut all that necessary extra work out. Just record it directly into the software. It's really, really easy to do. Right, I'm going to save this playlist. I'm going to go and schedule it in. So if I click on save, there we go. That's what I want to see, playlist saved. And I'm going to go and schedule it in. So if I click on schedule, that's what you'll see. So we're currently looking at this week. You can see the days of the week along the top and the time frame down by the side. And as I scroll down, you'll see everything that I've got on my show. And in fact, you'll see it's pretty bare. I've actually only got one live show, one show here, 9 till 12, every single day. Now, if you remember, I mentioned that default playlist, which we've built to automatically fade in during any gaps in your schedule. And there just so happens to be a huge gap here every day between 12 and 9. So this means for 21 hours every single day, my default playlist will automatically fade in and start playing continuously on loop. I had about 30 tracks, I think, in my playlist, and it's probably about 2 hours long, the content in there. So every 2 hours, it just starts again. Some people leave this schedule completely blank and they update their default playlist every day or every week. So that's one way that you can easily create a 24-hour station. Just build the default playlist exactly how you want it to and let us automatically play it. Of course, you could create content every hour of every single day, or alternatively, which is the way people tend to do it, is you can build playlists or live shows, schedule them periodically throughout the day, and anytime there's a gap, we will automatically play that default playlist for you to easily create a 24-hour station. So that's what I'll do now. I'm going to create a live show. I'll do a show from tomorrow, which we're going to start at 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock. So if I click on 2 on Thursday, and I'm going to drag it down to the time I want this show to finish, which in this case is 4 o'clock. So just drag it down with the mouse. Let go of the mouse, and you then need to confirm the information regarding this show. So first of all, you can see my show starts at 2 p.m. It runs for 2 hours, therefore finishes at 4. Nice. Currently, I've only got it scheduled for Thursday. Now, if you did want this show to go out on different days of the week as well, instead of having to do it every single day, you can actually schedule it once and we'll replicate it for you. So if you wanted this show to go out on air on a Friday as well, click on Friday, or maybe next Tuesday, following Sunday, or you can even select it every day. So just to show you, I'll click on every day and it will schedule it every day starting from Thursday. I can also repeat this on a weekly or a fortnightly or even a monthly basis. So instead of creating my content every single week, if I select week, again, we'll replicate it for you. And as I said at the top of this demo, we've got so many tools to make it really easy to manage the station. So regardless of experience, regardless of even time or a knowledge of online radio, we've got all these tools in place to make radio, broadcasting radio really easy and ultimately very enjoyable. So if I click on week, you can set a random date up to 2 years in the future. So I'm going to select the 4th of November 2021. So for the next 12 months, I'm going to have this show playing every day. Now, before I create my event, I need to decide what kind of show this is going to be. If it's not open already, click on the Events tab, this yellow button here. And this is where you tell the software what show this is going to be on the event type. So first of all, I'm going to select Playlist, which, as it suggests, I'm simply going to play a playlist on air. Now, to choose that playlist, you need to come to this area, which says Playlist. Now, here is a drop-down option. You can see, by default, it's selecting my default playlist. But if I click on this, you'll see all the other shows I've made. The one I want to play is Phil's Student Radio Show. So if I click on that, it's selected. You can also attach a custom piece of artwork here if you really wanted to. I won't do that right now. But yeah, if you've got a custom piece of artwork, you can put it there for your show. Now, just before I create it, I'm going to confirm everything. So Phil's Student Radio Show playlist is going to play 2 till 4 every day, every week, until the 4th of November 2021. If I'm happy with that, I'm going to click on Create Event, and it will just take a second or two. There we go, less than 2 seconds. And there we go, that's 12 months of content scheduled in just like that. So you can now see 2 till 4, Phil's Student Radio Show playlist is now playing, just like that. All you need to do to get a pre-recorded radio show on air is build a playlist and then tell the software what time you want it to play. It's that easy. Now, just to show you how this content is working. So I've got my live show 9 till 12. Alan, my live DJ, will automatically fade out. There's a gap here from 12. So as soon as it hits 12 o'clock, my default playlist will just continuously play on loop here for 2 hours. It will then automatically fade out, and my Phil Student Radio Show playlist will fade in and start playing automatically. And it will play that for 2 hours till 4 o'clock. It will then automatically fade out, and the next show will start at 4 o'clock exactly, which in this case is our default playlist again. And again, that's it. Just tell the software what you want it to do, and we'll do it for you. Very, very easy. Now, if you want this to be a live show, you need to do it slightly differently. And obviously, I mentioned it before with live broadcasting. So this is very, very possible with the software. So as well as giving you the ability to create pre-recorded automated shows, you can also very easily broadcast live through Radio.co, and it's quick and easy to set up, as I mentioned earlier. Now, for talk-based content, I'd say all you need really is a USB microphone. That's the very least you actually need, because you can plug it straight into your computer and it works straight away. There's no need to spend hundreds, thousands of pounds, thousands of dollars on equipment, because some of the most basic equipment will do just the same job. Of course, if you have multiple guests, then a mixing desk is recommended, so you can plug multiple microphones or some music sources into it. So for music broadcasting, there are a few options available for you. You could use a mixing desk with a music source plugged into it. That music source could be a mobile phone or a tablet that has music on it, or has maybe some streaming software that you could use. Or even things like a CD player or a turntables, as you know, I'm sure some schools have still got those available. Alternatively, there is actually DJ software, things like Virtual DJ or something more advanced called Tractor. And these will actually allow you to broadcast live directly through these software. So without using any desks, any hardware, you can actually just use another computer program and broadcast live directly through it. And again, for more information on how things like that work, just go to help.radio.co and type in things like Virtual DJ or Tractor, and you'll find more information about how those actually work. So for teaching, this can be a really easy and very beneficial alternative way to teaching or entertaining a class completely remotely. You can talk directly to your students and keep their studying in check even outside of the classroom. So if you have been using things like Zoom or Skype or Google Meet for your lessons previously during the last couple of months, or maybe still now, then you can do the same thing but broadcast live over the radio instead. So back to the schedule here. So to create a live show, I'm going to keep all the times here exactly the same, but I'm going to tell the software I want it to be a live show. So to do that, click on Event Type and click on Live DJ. You then need to tell the software which user, which DJ this is going to be. Now, chances are, if it's a school studio, a shared computer, you may only have one user. It could be the teacher that set it up or the student that set it up. But here, if I just go on this drop-down option, you can see you can actually invite multiple users to your account. And I'll show you how to do that very shortly. But for now, I would like David to host this live show. He's going to record it from the studio. And I would like David's show to record because I would like to turn it into a podcast when it's finished. Or I would like to let him listen back to it and see what he thinks of it. So if I click on, it will record that broadcast. Now, I'm happy with all these changes, so I'm going to click on Update Event. And I'm going to update all the events that I've just made. And even though I've scheduled content for a year in advance, I can make as many changes to it as I want, and it will only take a couple of seconds to do, just like that. So now you can see 2 till 4, David is hosting live. Now, David, as a live host, he can connect to the Radio.co account up to 5 minutes before he's due on air. So, again, you have to be good at time management, I guess, to make sure your show starts on time. But yeah, as long as you are in the studio and you get connected up to 5 minutes before your show, you'll be able to automatically fade in and start broadcasting any way that you want. You will then automatically fade out at 4 o'clock. So the next show, again, will start at exactly the right time. Now, as I mentioned before, you can set a backup playlist. So if David is broadcasting a live show from his own home, or maybe the school studio, and his internet connection suddenly goes down, there's a power cut, or something's happened and David is unable to get to the studio on time, then you know exactly what backup playlist is going to play in that event. In this case, it's Phil's Student Radio Show. And you can see recording has been enabled, so we know as soon as this show's finished, we have it as an MP3 that we can turn into a podcast if we wanted to. And again, in this schedule, we've got our default playlist playing for 2 hours. If David has connected, then at 2 o'clock, that will fade out and he will fade in. And that is just how easy it is to do a live show. All you need to do is create a profile, which I'll show you how to do now. Tell the software who you want to broadcast live during that time, and we'll give them all the control that they need to broadcast their live show. So very, very straightforward. The only piece missing is how do you get invited to the account. So if I go to the bottom of my screen here, you'll see users. Now, as I said before, it could just be one shared account you have. Maybe it's just you just have one user. It's the school radio user or a teacher's user. So that might be the only one you want to use, but you can actually give students and other teachers roles within the radio station. So there'll be one owner, which is here. Now, the owner is the only one in the account that can see billing information. So don't worry, no one else will see the billing information of the school or the teacher or the student who's paying for it. Other roles are station manager. That will give someone the exact same roles as the owner so they can do absolutely everything. So I guess just give it to someone who you trust. Music controller, that will give people or students a lot more freedom. It will allow them to upload content. They can build playlists, they can schedule live DJs, and they can do voice tracking. So if you would like some students to be able to do some voice tracking, on their own, not necessarily under a teacher's permission, then if you give them music controller access, they'll be allowed to do that. Alternatively, you can give people DJ access, and this will allow someone to log in from anywhere in the world, from any computer, and host the live show. So it doesn't even have to be on the school studio computer. It could be from your own home. So say, for example, I was a student, you wanted to get involved with your station. You would click on Invite a User. You'd enter my name, so Phil. You'd enter my email address, and you decide what role you want me to have. So I guess we'll have DJ. You'd click on invite. I will then get an email from the email address you've left telling me that I've been invited to join a station. I follow those instructions and I'll get my own unique login details. And the reason it's unique is because it will allow me to log in from my computer from anywhere in the world. So I could even host a station from the UK that's based and a station that's based in the US, for example, completely remotely. Now, one thing to note about DJs, if you are giving people DJ access, don't worry. DJs can only host live shows when you have scheduled them to. So if you do want someone to actually host a live show, you need to give them access and schedule them in to do it. Otherwise, they can't go live. Now, the most important question that we get asked is, how do people listen to the online radio station? You've spent so long time putting your student radio station together or your teaching materials together. How can people listen? There are a variety of different ways. So if I go to the Listen tab here, you'll find the most basic way. So first of all, there's this. This is a listen link, a unique URL that is for your station. It's automatically generated when you create your account. And yeah, it looks like a website link, but it's not a website or a landing page. It's just it opens up a tab on your web browser, and that tab is just a blank screen with a play button. That's all it does. But it's a great way of sharing it. So if you wanted to email it out to people, do that. Or if you had social media pages for the student radio station or the school, then why not post that link onto Facebook or Twitter or something like that, and people can listen to it like a private Facebook group for teachers or parents maybe. Post it on that and they can listen to it that way. Alternatively, if you want your station to be heard by as many people as possible, you could actually submit it to a number of internet radio directories. And one in particular is called Streamer. That's a great way of getting people listening to your station. It's free to submit to and it's very, very easy. So if you want people to listen to your shows outside of the school community, then that's one way to do it. Now, obviously, a lot of schools will have their own websites, and some of them may even have their own website dedicated to the radio station, maybe, or a section of the website dedicated to it. So if you do, you can actually create what we call a web player. Now, what this is it's just a simple player here, and it will display the cover art of any music you're playing, or in this case, it's displaying the branding for my podcast here, or the branding for the station. It comes in different shapes and different sizes. And it actually takes a minute or two to create. So if I just click on the Add Player button here, there's a couple of different options here. So we'll just keep it classic for now. We'll just call this one Phil's Student Station, like so. And you'll see a variety of different ways here. Oops, sorry, I think my web page has just refreshed there. So you can see here a couple of different ways here. So we've got the name of my web player here. I can change the size, make it really small or really large. I can decide to change the width of it if I wanted to. You can also have things like autoplay. So if you want people to for it to automatically start playing when you visit your website, enable it. You can also have it as a pop-out. So if people leave your student radio station's website, then it will still play in the background. Or again, if you don't necessarily need people connected to your website to listen to your modules you're teaching, then it will just pop out on a separate tab. But as you can see, it just takes a minute or two, and then you'll just need to share this piece of code, and you can place this onto a website. So anyone who visits the website will see whatever you've created here. So it's just a nice, easy way of having people listen to your station by directing them to the website. Other ways of people listening to stations is, particularly if it's for, maybe college or university stations, a lot of people have those fancy mobile phones these days, and we're all glued to them, as you will know. So you can actually have what we call a variety of add-ons onto the account. So you can actually, if you are interested, you can build things like an iPhone app and an Android app, just to give people, students, parents, teachers even, Arguably, an easier way of listening to your radio station is through a mobile app, or you can have an Amazon Echo device. You can ask Alexa to play your station here. Or again, if you wanted to build your own website and get kids into learning how to build websites, then we actually have our own website builder. So they can learn another skill in learning how to build their own website dedicated for their station. And our website builder uses various embeds and widgets and, drag this here, type this here. So again, it's something else to consider as another skill to learn. But again, alternative ways of people listening, but the possibilities of people listening to your station, there's so many of them. Statistics here. So statistics is a way of just seeing how your station's performing. So, you've put a lot of hard work into your station, or, you want to check to make sure people are listening to, the school, the education side of the station. So you can see here, we're looking at the last 30 days. You can see how many people were listening. Averagely how long people were listening for, and also where in the world people are listening from, which is really cool because your station is actually available all over the world. So this is really good to see your statistics and see the admin side of your radio station. So you can see here exactly where in the world this particular station is here. We've got our big audience here in the UK. You can also see how people are listening. Are they listening from an Android web browser, maybe from their Android mobile device? Are they listening on Google Chrome, or are they listening from a smartphone or a TV even? So wherever and however you make your station available, you can actually monitor it. And it's really great to see how popular particular shows are. So if any students would like to know how many people listened to their particular show, then the way you do that is go on here. You can look on we'll say today. If I click on today, you'll actually see how many people listened during each hour. So maybe I had a particular show at 7 a.m. this morning. You can see exactly how many listeners I had. You can also see real time. So this is really cool. This is always exciting to see. You can actually see who's listening to your radio station right this very second. So if your parents or friends are saying they're really enjoying listening to your station, then why not spy on them? Why not have a check and see if they are actually listening to your station here? Also, again, good for the admin side. If you are using our platform as a method of teaching, you can actually see how many live connections you've got here. So if you've got 20 students, therefore they should have 20 connections. You can actually see to make sure if all of those connections are there. You can see how long they've been listening for and when they connected. So again, a great tool to have from a teacher's perspective as well. We have reports, so you can monitor your station's the tracks that you have played. So if you wanted to know how many times you've played a particular track, or you can have a look here. So I'm looking again at today. You can see how many tracks I played today, what tracks they are, how many times each of them played, and how many people actually listened to it. So again, arguably maybe the more boring side of online radio, but still very, very important. Monitoring to make sure exactly what's played. Maybe a particular track is played too often. Why not swap it out and replace it with something else? So it's a good way of refreshing your content to make sure everything is fresh. And then the last thing is really settings. Now, it depends, I guess, who's running the station. It may not be the domain that you'll actually go into. However, this will let you change the name of your station. So again, these settings are only available to the station owner and the station manager. So, people with those access can do this. A great feature we actually have is our weekly digest email. So this just means if you want to keep a record every week of how your station's doing, then if you switch this on, what you'll do is the owner of the account, the email address tied to that, will actually automatically get an email every week with some bar charts just to show how well their station is doing on a week-by-week basis. So again, it's just a really great way of automating your station's performance. So there's no need to log in necessarily every week to check on it. So always consider turning on. It's a really great feature that we're really proud of. Broadcast settings. So we have what we call a default crossfade. What a crossfade is, it's the smooth transition between one track finishing and another track starting. So imagine it as a cross, one track's going down as another track's going up. That's the crossfade. Now you can adjust it to be as long as 10 seconds for a really long, really slow, really delicate crossfade, or you can even get rid of it and have your tracks just finishing and starting. I think the default actually when you set your account is 3 seconds. We believe that's a nice smooth transition between your tracks, but of course you can change it any way that you like. Live anytime, that'll be very useful for if the owner of the account is perhaps the only account you have and it's tied to the studio computer. This just means if you've suddenly got the urge to go live, maybe there's some breaking news and you would like the students or teachers to cover something, an emergency maybe, or some breaking news for a radio station, then it just means you can actually go live, as it suggests, anytime you like. So it's a really great beneficial feature. So I would recommend turning that on. It doesn't hurt it to have it on, even if you don't intend to use it. Turn it on. It's really, really great. And we also have your streaming quality here. So one question we do get asked a lot is, what bit rate it's called. That's the name. That's the sort of the term you use for your radio station sound quality. What bit rate do people tend to broadcast at? Well, a lot of stations arguably broadcast between 128 kbps or 192. Obviously, it makes sense to have it as high as possible for a much clearer sound. So this is a CD quality sound, a really, really nice sound quality for your station. But you can adjust it accordingly. One thing to note is the higher the bit rate, the more strength it requires for people to listen to it. So if anyone is trying to listen to your high bit rated station on an interconnection that's not very stable, they may suffer some dropouts, they may suffer some issues in listening. But it's up to you to monitor it however you like so. And you can also have mobile streaming as well. So this will just allow people with mobile phones, tablets to listen to the web player or that listen link from their mobile device. So again, turn it on to allow that. We have security measures. So you can block people from certain countries from listening. So if you only wanted people in the US, for example, to listen to your station, your American student radio station, then you can do that. Alternatively, you can block particular countries and allow, like so. You can also protect your station from being targeted by, what we call rippers. So it's just a nice bit of extra protection to make sure your content is yours and yours alone. We have some integrations here. So again, I mentioned podcast.co. If that's something of interest, then reach out to the team via hello@podcast.co. We also have Twitter integration, which is very, very useful. This will, if you have a Twitter account dedicated to your student radio station, which I do strongly advise, you can actually connect it here. So this will mean every time you play a new track, Twitter will automatically tweet it out for you. And I'll talk very briefly about social media when I talk about content ideas, but it's definitely something you should use to get some interaction on social media. And then billing information, that's just for the teachers and such. But yeah, one thing about the billing is as a radio station used within an educational manner, we actually offer a 10% discount off all of our plans. So something to keep in mind there. But that can be adjusted here again only by the owner of the account. They can adjust the planning there. So if you're a student listening to this, then yeah, you won't even see that tab. So ignore all that. And that is a crash course. I know I've covered a lot there. I've covered a lot more than I initially intended, just because I want to really show you how easy everything is to actually use, and hopefully, how I've been able to do that, and you can see the ease of using it, whether it is as a teacher for education or teachers and students using it for a live online radio station. Now, as I said before, what I'm going to be doing now is just covering a couple of content ideas that I've come up with. So what I'm going to do is just change my screen here. So stop screen, like so, and I'm going to change it to my other screen here. As you can see, it's very dark here in the UK. There we go. So I just wanted to cover a couple of content ideas here on my screen. There we go. Thank you, Jack. So these are just ideas that are really easy, really great ways of generating content for your student radio station. So again, if you're a teacher or a school board or just a student, I hope these ideas that I'm going to talk about will, really help you allow to shine through your online radio station. So first of all, interviews. Obviously, everyone knows what an interview is, easy peasy. But with an interview, you can conduct interviews with friends and family members, and by doing that, it's by far the quickest way to develop confidence in presenting. So take a microphone or just interview your parents, your friends, and just ask them questions. Get used to just asking questions. Not just that, but also listening and taking their answer and asking another question based off that. That's the workings of a great presenter and a great listener as well. So yeah, interview friends and families to gain confidence in presenting. With that as well, considering just how good microphones have become in mobile phones today, students could actually already have a very capable device. You could be holding a mobile phone right now, the latest mobile phone that has a really good microphone on it. So there's no need to buy microphones for every student because the mobile phones are technically one already. Again, if you're a member of a school board, then there are a number of highly portable recording devices on the market, such as the Zoom series, which feature high-quality microphones capable of recording audio. There's little ones. I used to have one called a Zoom H1, very portable, very good, very durable. For live interviews as well, we actually have our own iOS app called Pocket Streamer. And what this does is this actually turns your iPhone into a portable microphone that can connect directly to your account. So if you wanted to talk, cover some breaking news or interview someone on location at an event maybe, then you wouldn't need to take a computer or a microphone, just take a mobile phone. Vox Pops sounds very strange, and this idea does come in different forms, different names, depending on where you are in the world, but it all means the same. So the name may differ around the world, but this is, again, an incredibly easy and engaging piece of content where students will record answers to questions that they've asked the public. It's vocals from the population. Vox Pop is the trendy name for it. So you could just take a microphone around a shopping district maybe, or around the school grounds, interview other students, interview teachers maybe, and just ask them what their favourite track is, or, we're getting near Christmas, what's their favourite thing about Christmas? What's the worst food that they are forced to eat? What's their favourite TV show? And what you do is it's really easy to record. It's very simple to edit together and fun to listen back to. So Vox Pops, very easy to actually record and a great thing to consider doing. Debates. Discussing something trivial, unpopular even, or important with a number of different voices can make for a very engaging and moving radio program. Debates can be broadcast live from a studio using, a mixing desk with several microphones, or even pre-recorded on audio editing software, or using our talk show tool, which I briefly touched on before. So again, debates, all you need to do is you could pick a random topic, or you could pick a particular one out as, to give this video a timestamp. It's currently undergoing the US elections. Maybe pick a topic out like that, one at random or a specific one, and just talk about it and record it for as long as you need to, because people passionate about something, arguing and respecting people's opinions and getting their own across, makes for really engaging radio, and it's very easy to do. The equipment, all you need is a couple of microphones. Social media posts. Very similar to speaking with the public on the streets, posting content online to hook in your audience is a very simple way of creating content for your shows. So the most effective posts are often the most basic, to be honest. So asking your audience to name their favourite TV show, their least favourite food, or even just posting a funny picture or quote is such an easy way to get people talking to you. People overlook it. They want to post big posts about everything, but just post a funny picture, get people to react to it, or ask a question, get people to react to it, and you can then say, Phil has got in touch and he says his favourite thing is that. So use social media to your advantage. It's the most beneficial tool for your online radio station. Have a Twitter account, a Facebook account, even an Instagram account. Use the right hashtags, get people involved, and the more people that interact with you on social media, the better it is actually to promote your station. So you'll find people outside of your school community listening to your station just because you're creating engaging content. And remember, engaging content doesn't have to be overly complicated. What have I got next here? So live callers. Getting listeners or guests on your radio shows is actually a lot easier than you may think. The very least you actually need, as I mentioned before, is a mixing desk, a mobile phone plugged into it through the headphone port. That means anyone who calls you on your mobile phone, you can just fade them in on the mixing desk, and that's it. Everything that they're saying to you over the phone is going through your desk and out on air. Very, very easy content. Alternatively, you may be using a mixing desk that has Bluetooth functionality, like the excellent Rodecaster Pro. If you would like to find out more about that particular piece of equipment, my colleague Jack actually did a fantastic review all about it, and you'll find that in our Radio.co blog and our university. That will show you how the Rodecaster Pro actually works. And like I said, that has Bluetooth functionality. You can actually just connect a phone or tablet through that way. One thing worth noting that people don't actually know about is for the best audio results, we actually always advise using WhatsApp for conducting live calls and mobile phone interviews, as the sound quality built in the app is actually far better than standard phone calls or other video call apps like Skype or Zoom. So instead of using actual telephone call, consider using WhatsApp. You'll get much better results through that. Audio plays. Okay, so there's a reason why they called radio the theatre of the mind. And as good as watching a film or play may be, there's actually nothing quite like imagining it yourself. So why not get together, get your students or get the teachers involved, write a script, record lines in your studio, and you can even experiment with making your own sound effects. Easy ones, things like get gravel in a drawer or in a box, walk on it, and that's the sound of someone's footprints. Or maybe you could tear up fruit or vegetables to sound like someone's gory demise. Sounds silly, but a lot of films back in the day used to use just tearing up fruit and vegetables to make it sound like, you can imagine what it would sound like. But yeah, or even maybe get your local drama classes or drama societies, theatre societies involved. All they need to do is, instead of doing their performance on stage, they can do it within your studio, or you could take microphones to their stage. But yeah, really coming together and writing a play, a really engaging piece of story will not only create engaging content, but it'll actually get you, get that creative writing going through, and actually really be beneficial for a lot of your radio programs, the ability to write script, such as this final one I'm going to talk about is news. So I told you before, you can automate news broadcasts through Radio.co. However, the way I think you should do it is actually tasking students with sourcing and reporting on their own news. It's a fantastic way of improving their writing skills and the ability to process information and actually translate it for broadcasting. So it's one thing being able to follow a news story and write it up in your own way. But of course, not every script you write sounds good on radio or TV for that matter. So taking information and rewriting it in a way that makes you sound engaging and entertaining and easy to understand, again, is a skill in itself. So tasking students with making their own news is something I very much recommend. So whether it's just reading from a script or maybe checking in with other reporters that may be in the field, maybe live, or maybe they're in the studio, learning how to write informative and engaging scripts is a highly useful skill for radio broadcasting. And so there we go, guys. So that's kind of everything really on the basics of using Radio.co, as well as a couple of ideas on content as well. So, it's a great tool that I hope I've been able to show you. It's a great tool for students launching their own radio station, teachers who want to know just how easy it can be, or even teachers in these testing times. How do I educate? How do I reach my students from home? And I hope this demonstration has showed you just how easy it is actually to do, as well as the content ideas that you can take to your schools. And maybe you were watching this and you had no intention of launching an online radio station for your school, college, or university. But hopefully after this, we've shown you just how easy it is actually to do. Thank you very much for joining me for this very special edition of our Radio.co demo. I do hope you very much enjoyed it. We'll be back again at the start of next month, maybe this time next month in December, to do another Radio.co demo as well. But if you have any questions, anything at all that you want to ask a member of the team, you can get in touch by emailing studio@radio.co. Not only do we provide a great software, but also great experience and great knowledge and help. We can help you with anything you want. Any questions about how best to do a particular piece of content, or any issues using the software, we're always here to help any way that we can. So thank you once again, everybody. I very much enjoyed this, and I hope to see, or rather hear, your student radio station on air with us very, very soon. Take care.
Starting a radio station has never been easier. Click here and I'll take you to a free guide which shows you exactly how you can start a radio station with minimal fuss, no technical headaches, plus also start getting those all-important listeners. How does that sound? Click here and I will take you to my free guide.